Hey YouTube, it's Ashley. I haven't recorded in a couple of days. I've had a lot going on. It's been a busy, crazy couple of days. It is March 31st, and it's like 12:23 in the morning. Another late night. I tend to have a crap load of insomnia, brought on by deployments, I guess. But yeah, like I was saying, I've had a lot going on last couple of days. Just been um, busy, having to handle some things that have come up. You know, typical deployment stress. I I had to kind of diffuse a situation that came up a couple of days ago that I haven't had to deal with before. Um, you know, Things like that come up during deployments, and you know, all you can, I mean, all you can do is be prepared for the unexpected and handle the situation the best that you can. Um, it's hard when your husband's, half the world away and you can't talk to him and figure out exactly what's going on all the time, because they have very, very short phone calls. And when they do get to call, you want to make the most of those calls because you don't know when you're going to get to hear from him again. And within the unit, things can tend to get miscommunicated. That's mainly what it was about. And you just have to handle it the best you can. I have a lot of respect for everybody in our unit. You know, um, Unfortunately, I don't know a lot of them really, really well because my husband hasn't been with this unit for a long time. Um, of course, he knows the guys really well. But there's a lot of the guys and a lot of the wives that I haven't gotten the chance to get to know very well. But they all seem like awesome people. They all seem like some of the best people you could ever meet, and I want everybody to just have a smooth, as stress-free as possible deployment. Like I had said, I hadn't got to talk to Travis in a few days. All I know is that they've been busy. Um, you hope you get a call every couple of days, but you don't know if you're going to. And the best way to handle that is to not expect it, but you can't help it. Like you tell yourself, and they tell you, don't expect me to call, that way you won't get your hopes up, but you can't help it, you do it anyway. You wait by the phone, that phone is attached to you. Like, I mean, it's like it becomes a limb, and I mean, this thing never leaves my side. Okay, I mean, it goes with me everywhere. Because I mean, I think the worst thing in the world to have to swallow is if your, significant others overseas and you miss a call from them. That's really hard. And you feel horrible and you cry and you feel awful until they're able to call back. And sometimes you're lucky and they can call right back. Sometimes it's a couple hours, sometimes it's a couple of days, or you don't even know when, so I try to do everything possible to keep that from happening, because I don't know when I'm going to hear from him, and I don't want to miss a call, and it's inevitable, at least once or a couple of times during a deployment it's probably going to happen. Um, but I mean, you feel horrible when it does, so I mean, I stay glued by the phone, but I'm also realistic too. I know he didn't go over there to sit on the phone. He went over there to do his job, and he is busy and he has stuff going on, and I can't expect him to call me every day, because there's going to be times, there's going to be long stretches I'm not going to hear from him, and it's going to drive me crazy, but I've got to find a way to cope with it. I do fine as long as I'm hearing from him, as long as I'm hearing from him on a pretty regular basis, and I've even told him, if that's letters, if that's calls, whatever it is, as long as I'm having some kind of contact with him, pretty frequent, then I do okay. It's the long stretches of not hearing from him that make it really hard, because then that's when you start, like, you're like, I'm losing my mind because I don't know what's going on. I don't know how he's doing, if he's coping, whatever. So that can tend to be hard. I'm hoping that it won't be too bad, that we won't have to go too long of stretches. I mean, I've known wives that have had to go over a month without hearing from their husband at all. And that's heck. I can't say I know what that's like, because luckily, thank God, I haven't had to wait. Even in past deployments, I haven't went that long. Um, I've went a couple of weeks, but never a month, and that would be probably way worse than I want to imagine it being. But you have to prepare yourself, because you don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the communication is going to be like throughout the duration of this deployment. Um, you just have to hope for the best, and you have to pray really hard, and you have to hope that they're able to stay in pretty regular contact, because it makes things so much more bearable when they can. Um, I would I wanted to kind of touch on the whole care package thing a little bit. I just got my husband's first two care packages together. I can't mail them out until Tuesday, though, because of the Memorial Day holiday. And I've been working on getting them put together ever since he left. They're really cool. I did a theme package for one, because his birthday is next month, and this is the first time I've ever done a theme. I've got a lot of experience doing care packages, and in the past, you get them what they ask for and what they need, and then you mail it off. This time, I'm wanting to be a little bit more creative with them, put a little bit more thought into them than I have in the past. Decorate them, decorate the inside of the box. I want to do themes. I want to make it exciting. I want him to know that I didn't just slap it together. I want to put a lot of love into it, because he's not here for me to show him that love. So the only thing I can do is put it in my letters and in the packages I'll send. I did, the first time I've ever tried it, I did the cake in the mason jars. I really didn't know how it was going to turn out, and really, I didn't know if the recipe would be different or what, but I mean, the recipe was exactly the same. You just go by the recipe on the box, and all you do, instead of putting it in a cake dish, is you put it in your mason jars, and you can do whatever size you want. You can do many small ones, you can do the medium sized ones, or the large ones. I did two of the large ones, and that pretty much took up a whole box of cake batter, and all you do is fill them up halfway, and you put them in the oven, and you bake them until they're done, and until you stick a knife or a toothpick or whatever in the middle, and it comes out clean. It was really, really neat. And while they're cooking, you boil the lids to the mason jars and get them hot. That way, when you take the jars out of the oven, you put the lid on them, and that seals them up airtight, so they're fresh and good when they get there. And then you just include your little can of frosting, and so I thought that was really neat. Um, you know, I I put a lot of thought into what I sent him. I'm sending him everything he asked for. I'm sending him a lot of food. Um, you know, it's hard because trying to get everything to fit in the boxes. Used to be able to mail a flat rate box for like $8. They've went up on them, and now they're like $10.70 to mail. So if I'm sending two of them with tax and everything, I'm looking at about $23, $24 just to mail the packages. That's not even to include all the money that you spend to go in them. So it takes some doing. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. Luckily, they don't weigh them because they're heavy. You pack them as full as you can, but you have to pay to send them. So I'm gonna try to average at least two a month. Um, and I mean, that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you think you fill up each box to the brim of good stuff, of stuff that they ask for, that's not bad. Um, because from what I've heard, I mean, it's going to take a couple of weeks for them to get to him. So I think two a month. If I can get three out, then I'll do that. But I won't send any less than two. And I'll keep him stocked on what he needs and what he wants. Um, but this video is starting to run a little long, so I'm gonna end it because I really don't want to make two. But I'll do better about not waiting so long to record again. But I'll see you all in a couple of days. Take care. If y'all have any questions, let me know. Comment and subscribe, and I will record again definitely within the next couple of days. So I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.